I never imagined that the happiest day of my daughter's life would also become one of the most humiliating moments of mine. As I sat quietly in the grand hall, surrounded by sparkling lights and joyful laughter, I reminded myself that this day was about her, not me. I wore my old suit, neatly pressed but noticeably simple compared to the designer tuxedos around me. I chose to keep quiet, to let her shine. After all, weddings were about beginnings, not about proving worth. But deep down, I carried a secret that no one in that room knew. Behind my modest appearance and quiet life, I had built a fortune, quietly, steadily, without boasting. I wasn't the type to flash my wealth, nor did I ever want my daughter to grow up entitled. I had invested wisely, lived frugally, and hidden my success behind the mask of a simple man. I thought humility would protect our bond. I thought she would love me for who I was, not for what I had. The ceremony itself was beautiful. She looked radiant walking down the aisle, her groom beaming with pride. I sat at the front, holding back tears as I thought of the little girl who once held my hand at school gates, who once whispered to me that I was her hero. I remembered late nights helping her with homework, making her favorite meals when her mother passed away, sacrificing everything to make sure she never felt less than loved. I thought those memories bound us together. But when the time came for speeches, everything shifted. One by one, her friends and family raised glasses, telling stories filled with laughter and love. Then my daughter stood, glowing in her white gown, microphone in hand. At first, her words made me smile. She spoke about dreams, about her new life, about her gratitude to everyone who had gathered. But then, her tone changed. And to my father, she said, pausing for effect as all eyes turned to me, "Thank you for everything you've done. Even though you never had much, even though we grew up broke, you always gave what you could." She laughed lightly, and the crowd chuckled with her. My heart tightened. "I guess you taught me that money isn't everything, because, well, you never had any." Laughter rippled through the room. Some tried to hide it, others didn't bother. My face burned as I forced a smile, swallowing the lump in my throat. She didn't stop there. "But don't worry, Dad," she added with a smirk, "I'll make sure you're taken care of now that I'm married into a family that has real means." The hall erupted with uneasy laughter and whispers. My daughter, the very person I had sacrificed everything for, was mocking me, painting me as a man who had nothing, who had failed. She didn't know. She didn't know about the nights I stayed awake studying investments, about the companies I had quietly built, about the properties in my name. She didn't know that her college education had been fully funded by me alone, that every dream she'd ever chased was carried on my back. She didn't know. Because I never told her. I sat frozen, torn between silence and truth. I didn't want to ruin her wedding. But something inside me broke when I saw the pitying looks from strangers, the smug glances from her in-laws. They thought I was nothing. They thought she had risen above me. When the applause faded and the music resumed, I stood. My chair scraped loudly against the floor, and the room quieted as I walked toward the microphone. My daughter's smile faltered. I cleared my throat and spoke slowly, my voice steady despite the storm inside me. "I wasn't going to speak today," I began. "I wanted this day to be about my daughter and her happiness. But since my name has been mentioned, perhaps I should tell a story." The room leaned in. I told them about the years after her mother passed, how I had worked 2 jobs to keep food on the table, how I had walked miles to save bus fare so I could pay for her piano lessons. I spoke about the investments I had made quietly, the businesses I had built in silence, the fortune I had never flaunted because I wanted her to value people over possessions. Gasps filled the room as I revealed that I was not the broke man she thought. I didn't list numbers, but I made it clear, my fortune was real, and it was the reason she had grown up never truly lacking anything. "I never wanted you to measure me by wealth," I said softly, looking at her tearful eyes. "I wanted you to measure me by love. But today, you measured me by something else." The hall fell silent. My daughter's face turned pale as realization dawned. Tears spilled down her cheeks as she whispered, "Dad. I didn't know." I put down the microphone, not to shame her further, but to end the moment. I had said enough. I returned to my seat, the music starting again, though the room felt forever changed. My daughter came to me later, sobbing, apologizing, begging for forgiveness. And of course, I forgave her. She was still my little girl, no matter how much her words had wounded me. But that day taught her something she had never understood before: humility. She realized that appearances deceive, that pride can blind us, and that love is worth more than any fortune. In the end, I didn't regret speaking up. Not because I wanted the world to know about my wealth, but because I wanted my daughter to see me, not as the broke man she believed, not as the silent shadow in her new life, but as the father who had always stood tall for her, even in silence. And maybe that was the real fortune I had carried all along: the love, the sacrifices, and the strength to teach her a lesson she would never forget.